Some other pitfalls we fall into when it comes to romantic love. One of the big ones is that we focus on the surface and we miss what's inside. Now, obviously, in terms of appearance, yes, this is an obvious thing. I think many of you already know about this. But there's another level of this which I've seen and I've experienced, and that is that a lot of times we mistaken, as the sister said, what I call surface romance. We mistaken surface romance for deep connection. And the two are very, very different. See, you might have a man or a woman who does these things for you, these things and these gestures that the sister was mentioning, the roses and the surprises and all of that. And you may believe that that means that you have a connection. But there is a very, very big difference between surface romance and deep connection. Deep connection is about, and these are big terms, deep connection is about compatibility. Deep connection is about vulnerability. Deep connection cannot only just be in these gestures. So I advise you and all those who are looking, for example, for marriage, look deeper. And one last thing I want to say, I will tell you, and everyone who advises you will tell you, look for deen, look for character. Absolutely, those are a must. But I will also tell you that it is not enough. It is not enough. And I'm going to say this, and I know this from experience. What I speak about, I know from experience, that it is not enough. And there are many examples, namely even in our tradition, we know, for example, great people, Zayd and Zainab, they were both amazing character, they both amazing, had amazing morals and deen, but they were not compatible. They were not compatible, and so they actually got divorced. And so what I want to say to you is that, yes, you look for deen, yes, you look for character, but it is necessary, but not sufficient. It is not sufficient. You have to, and I cannot emphasize this enough, you have to look for compatibility. You have to look for compatibility. And I'm not just talking about surface compatibility. I'm not just talking about, I'm from Egypt, he's from Egypt, and so we're compatible. Right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a deeper level of compatibility, and that's again a whole other discussion. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه غفور رحيم سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Jazakallah khair. Very inspiring words, and a lot of questions that came from them. A lot of questions. Thank you. But with that being said, please don't hold your hopes really high in me asking your questions, because there are a lot. Some of the questions were answered through the talk, so I might not go back to those, and some of the questions are going to be paraphrased to include multiple questions. So our first question is, how do you put Allah back at the center of your heart?
Okay, great question. Next time we shouldn't only have 20 minutes, right? This is a huge question. But I'm going to give you guys the shortest answer I can think of, okay? So in order to take care of the body, we have certain needs, all right? Everybody knows them. One most essential need for a body is what? Before water. You can live for a few days without water, but what can't you live with? Oxygen, folks. You cannot live more than a few minutes without oxygen, okay? Or seconds. Oxygen is essential for you to stay alive physically. You also need spiritual oxygen to stay alive spiritually. The spiritual oxygen is your salah. You cannot have any relationship, you cannot claim to have a relationship, a true deep relationship with your Creator if you aren't praying, and you aren't praying on time. And that's a fact, and that's just like a fact. You have to pray, and you have to pray on time, and that's the foundation of your relationship with Allah. That's why it's the first thing you're asked about on the Day of Judgment. As the Prophet ﷺ said, if it's in order, then the person will have succeeded, and if it's not, the person will have failed. The salah is number one. That's your oxygen. It's keeping you alive. Same way, if you don't say, you know what, I'm really busy today, I'm studying for an exam, so I'm gonna breathe tomorrow. You don't say, I'm gonna breathe tonight because I'm on Facebook, or I'm at the mall. Like, it doesn't work out like that. Or I'm in a meeting, a very important business meeting, so I'm just gonna breathe in a few hours. You feel me? You can't do that physically. You know you can't do that because you'll die. And it's the same thing spiritually with your salah. You will not survive unless you are taking the oxygen spiritually of the salah. And make sure it's on time. If I gave you a prescription as a doctor and said, ma'am, I'm very sorry, you're very ill and you need to take this medicine, or sir, you need to take this medicine, it's keeping you alive, but you have to take it 5 times a day at certain times. There's no one who's gonna say, well, today I was busy, so I'll take all 5 doses before I sleep, right? You're never gonna do that because otherwise you'll die. No one's gonna say, I'm gonna miss a few doses because I had something else to do. You feel me? So the essential thing is your salah, and the more that you can solidify your salah, the more you will solidify your relationship with Allah.